Hello, Pumpkin Patch, and welcome to day 23 of Days of Halloween. We're covering the 4 movies in one haunted house for October 23rd. Please remember to click or treat. That means like, share, and subscribe. And then also make sure that you follow us on all the social media channels. And please make sure you stay till the end because I'm sure there'll be tons of bloopers. For our Halloween classic movie today, it's going to feature a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. That's right, everyone, it's 1975's Rocky Horror Picture Show. I hope you guys are ready to have a lot of fun. Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick are all in this movie. Richard O'Brien wrote and directed this movie, and he's also in the movie as Riff Raff. It's also a cult classic. It's the longest running film in movie history. If you haven't seen it, do yourselves a favor and see this movie. Richard O'Brien worked on this story when he was an out-of-work actor. He shared it with some of his friends and they put on a stage show that lasted for 6 years. In the middle of that stage show, they also filmed this movie. Rocky Horror became an almost instant cult classic. People started performing on stage while the movie was playing, the Waverly Theater in New York City, and then also at the King's Court in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In 1976, this movie came out in 1975, so it didn't take long at all. Richard O'Brien wrote this because he loved B-horror movies, he loved sci-fi, and he loved rock and roll. So if you love any or all of those things, I think that you'll have a great time watching this movie. When you can go back outside, please go see this in a movie theater and watch the people perform and have fun throwing toilet paper, throwing toast, shouting at the screen, shooting the squirt guns up in the air. I think that if you see this movie that you will have a wonderful time. The story doesn't even matter. This movie is designed for you to have a good time. For our overlooked movie of the day, we've chosen the 2019 horror movie Haunt. Written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Wood, this movie features 2 roommates named Harper and Bailey. They go to a Halloween party on Halloween night, and they decide to leave that Halloween party with some friends they meet there and go to a haunted house. But this haunted house is Red Flag City, where the haunt is deserted and the chances of living are not pretty. For real, y'all, there is no one at the haunt on Halloween night. If you encounter a haunt where there's no one there on Halloween night, you probably should just turn around and leave. They also lock up their cell phones. Harper's abusive ex-boyfriend somehow finds her there. Also sus. All of the performers in the haunt are in a cult. So all good things. The movie really follows what ensues after that, which is pretty gory and terrible. If you encounter a haunted house with any of these, perhaps you should not go in. Even though all of this is Red Flag City, I really enjoyed this movie. It's gory. It does a good job of building suspense. Like, seriously building suspense. Like, I screamed in our living room during a part of this movie. It also stars Katie Stevens, who I know from the ABC family show Switched at Birth, so that was interesting to see her in a completely different genre. I hope you guys really enjoy Haunt. I really enjoyed the build of suspense and the portrayal of a haunted house more in a more realistic way. A lot of haunted house movies have James and I asking, have these people ever been to a haunted house before? And this movie did not have us asking that question, which was a huge benefit. For today's Halloween in Between movie, we've chosen the 2016 Tim Burton fantasy movie, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This movie has an all-star cast that includes Eva Green, Ozza Butterfield, Chris O'Dowd, Allison Janney, Rupert Everett, Terrence Stamp, Ella Purnell, Judi Dench, and Sam Jackson in a movie that you can share with your preteens without worrying about them coming out saying some things you may not want them to. In this movie, Abe Portman has told his grandson Jacob about battling monsters at Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. He also shares with Jake that why the house was called the Home for Peculiar Children is because all the children there had special abilities. Calling kids with special abilities peculiar is kind of rude if you ask me, but you do you, Miss Peregrine. And then he's able to find out that he has the same abilities as his grandfather and that he is also peculiar. Again, rude, right? Rude to call somebody peculiar just because they have special abilities. Fun fact about this movie is that even though it's a Tim Burton movie, Danny Elfman did not do the score. So if you're looking for a Tim Burton movie where the score is different, then here you go. For our kids movie of the day, we've chosen the 1986 Musical fantasy, The Worst Witch. You know what that means, you guys. Fairuza Balk is back, baby. And so is Tim Curry, both in this movie. Also starring Diana Rigg and Charlotte Rae. This movie is based on a book by Jill Murphy. In this movie, Fairuza Balk plays Mildred Hubble, who is the worst witch at Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches. When, in a twist, Miss Cackle has an evil twin sister who tries to take over the academy. Mildred has to help them save it with her terrible witchcraft. I hope you guys enjoy The Worst Witch, and I hope you enjoy all the Fairuza Balk that's on this list so far. Our haunt of the day is Creepy World in St. Louis, Missouri. Located 20 minutes from The Darkness, another awesome, amazing St. Louis haunted house. One of the things that Creepy World advertises on their website is that almost all of Creepy World is outside under the pale moonlight. Creepy World and The Darkness are also in the same family of companies, and so you can buy a combo ticket and do both attractions. Creepy World features 13 haunted houses, all for one price, on a wooden trail, again under the pale moonlight. Creepy World is open this year. If you check below down in the comments, we'll have a link to their website where you can buy tickets and see all their COVID-19 procedures. Creepy World has been featured on Mythbusters and the Wall Street Journal, and James's old nemesis, the Travel Channel. Seriously, still ghosting us, Travel Channel? USA Today, National Geographic, and also it's been featured on Shipping Wars. I haven't seen that episode, or any episode of Shipping Wars, to be very honest with you. So, I don't know why they were on Shipping Wars, but I'm sure that's an interesting one. Maybe the greatest honor for a haunt? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen that episode of Shipping Wars, or any episode of Shipping Wars that you thought was... If you're anywhere in the St. Louis area, make sure you check out Creepy World. I've heard nothing but good things, and it's one of the places on our Missouri haunt list that we'd want to go. Now would be about where I cut the end of the episode and tell you to like, share, and subscribe, and tell you to stalk us on all the social medias. You should still do that for sure. But I also want to take a moment to talk about Rocky Horror and what it meant to me on a personal level. James's sister, my dear sweet sister-in-law Gina Moser, was a huge fan of Rocky Horror. Every time she talked about it, she smiled. It brought her incredible joy, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it today. She played Magenta on stage at some of the Rocky Horror Picture Show productions, and I never got the great privilege of seeing her in those productions, but I knew from the way that she talked about it how much she truly loved it and how much joy it brought her. Gina passed away in 2014, and I just want to take a minute to just honor her and honor how much joy Rocky Horror brought to her. Sometimes these movies are more than a movie, and Rocky Horror was more than a movie to Gina, and I just couldn't let this episode go without acknowledging that piece of it. Just saying out to the universe how much I love her and how much I love that this movie gave her such great joy in her life while she was alive. Thanks so much for joining us. Been featured on and Brian Wood. The story doesn't this Brian Wood Bryant, not Brian, not Bryant. And then also I knew from the ABC, yes, Home, that's correct. They just slur all the words together, Jessica. This movie, the reason why it was the house. We've chosen the 1986. For our kids' movie, you know what that means. Or if Shipping World's, I can't remember. The Miss Cackle's School for Witchcraft. In this movie, Fairuza Balk plays Mildred, and or if Shipping World Academy for Witches. No, that's not it either. Can't Say Shipping Wars by Scott Beck, and this haunted house. Creepy World's been featured on for our Halloween Classic section.